Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. I've got a very special community cast for you all from my old friend Pharaoh OWar. Haven't heard from him in quite a while, but we had a chance to chat the other day, and he sent me this replay of Greenskins versus High Elves. So it's always a pleasure to cast one of Pharaoh's games. For those of you guys who maybe aren't familiar with him, he's a player who's been playing for quite a long time, actually. His been on a bit of a break recently. He said he wasn't really enjoying the gameplay for the last few patches, which I totally understand, but things have changed quite a bit since then. I think personally the balance is in a much better place than it was even like 6 months to a year ago. But here we are, Greenskins versus High Elves. He's going to be facing Lycan Lupin, I believe. And let's take a look at the builds here. We've got the Black Orcs up front, with a couple of big ins to the flanks, 3 units of Goblin Archers, so going a bit cheaper on the missile line there, with the unit of Trolls, Wurzag, of course, leading the way. Got some Spider Rider Archers on this flank, some Meat Shield Goblins up front, including the AP Loonies, and some Squig Hoppers over to the side. As for the High Elves, we've got a Flamespire Phoenix, great pick there, although it is pretty far forward at this point. It's going to get an FG to get and eat a whole bunch of Goblin arrows to the face. Considering how cheap the Goblins are, this is really cost inefficient. A very nice little magic missile from Wurzag there as well. So some really good damage from that initial pick there, that Phoenix just straying too far forward. And Goblins, although they have really poor missile damage, again, the lack of armor for the Phoenix means that it will take a lot of damage. Only 30 armor, being sundered by the Rusty Air, is now down to 0 armor. So again, these very cheap, high volume of fire units will do a lot there. So, yeah, very interesting stuff so far. We've also got a High Mage on a Chariot here. I believe Tyrion is the Lord for the High Elves. A couple of Sword Masters, some Spearmen, and Lothern Seaguard as well. Sword Masters are an interesting pick here. If you can manage to break WoW with some things, like for example the High Mage here is looking to probably try and cast Arcane Unforging on Wurzag. Yep, you see the template pops up there. And just as a pro tip for you guys who are Greenskins players, it's only about a 5-second cast time, so it can be very hard to catch. But if you do see that template pop up, you want to try and pop WoW if you can. Because you're going to lose out on it anyway on the charge, so you might as well get the advantage of the speed boost as you move across the battlefield. But here the High Mage gets into a bit of a pickle as she's trying to cast that, actually ends up getting a bit caught out by Trolls and Spider Riders here, so Wurzag is protected for the time being. You can see Tyrion's on his way over, though. He's going to start to deliver some justice potentially, but already Wurzag is choosing to use that effigy to get on the Flamespire Phoenix, and another magic missile as well coming in doing a ton of damage. I thought Effigy of the Git was used there. I'm not really sure if it just wore off or something, but there's the Arcane Unforging, so unfortunately WoW has been stopped at least for the initial charge. Pharaoh will have to get Wurzag in there to recharge it in melee if he wants to be able to use it in this battle, and that will make these Swordmasters trade a lot more efficiently into Greenskin Infantry. That being said, I'm still not the biggest fan of Swordmasters here. I think you're trying to fight fire with fire, so to speak, by going infantry against greenskins, like trying to get your killing power for your infantry against greenskins. I think you're much better off to go with monsters or cav to try and deal with the greenskins, but we'll see. The chariot is certainly helpful here, though. The High Mage on the chariot getting some really nice initial damage done on these chaff units, just helping to clear them out in terms of their HP, because the High Elves obviously are a bit weak to swarm, so you definitely want to try and get rid of these weak units early on if you can. Black Orcs now making their way forward here. Orc Biggins have also taken some pretty serious damage because of their lack of missile block chance. So the focus fire from the Shadow Warriors and from the Lothern Seaguard has been pretty good here. But they will be able to get in still with quite a few unit models remaining and should be able to mop up with those spears. Oh, maybe. Or else they're going to mop up Tyrion here in the front line. He throws a feint and riposte to try and beat those Biggins back, and because they're kind of forcing a little bit of a blob there, these Reavers, other archers can continue to fire in there, so good stuff so far. Flamespire Phoenix actually tries to drop on the Squig Hoppers, and this is a huge mistake in my opinion. Squig Hoppers are actually immune to psychology. They're one of the few Greenskins units that is immune to psychology, so this Flamespire Phoenix is not going to be able to terror route them, and because again it has low armor, the Goblins are going to be able to turn and fire here. The Spider Riders getting in there as well. Tyrion does manage to rout off this unit here, but in the front line you can see Black Orcs are trading very cost efficiently because of the buffs from Wurzag. That constant Bonewood Staff stream of buffs, it's been very, very good for them. You can see this unit especially already getting run over by Black Orcs and Trolls here. So yeah, this is one of the reasons why I'm not the biggest fan of going infantry heavy against the Greenskins. You'd end up just kind of getting run over a little bit there. But Tyrion, I guess that effigy to get wasn't actually used earlier because now Tyrion gets it. The Flamespire Phoenix did get its healing proc, but even still got damaged all the way down. You know, it's at its healing cap and is just about out of HP anyway. Tyrion coming back here to try and assassinate Wurzag does get caught up by the Trolls and Spider Riders. Doing a great job here, Pharaoh is, of keeping these supporting units in a position to support and keep Wurzag safe. We'll see. The Phoenix is going to be over on the far side. High Mage is also here kind of chasing some units. She definitely needs to get back over here, though, and start running some rear charges on these Black Orcs. It's maybe going to be a little bit too late as the High Elf Infantry force is just about cleaned up here. Nice Fanatics cast. Going to cut through these Lothern Seaguard. Oh, actually, it looked like they decided to go in another direction. And, oh, this is a betrayal. Oh, man. That's animosity for sure. That's animosity, 100%. They're going to need to roll for that on the next turn. Anyway, the Shadow Warriors getting swarmed by Spider Riders, really, really inefficient for them. Shadow Warriors are also kind of not the greatest unit in the world. Their missile damage is really poor for what you pay for them, and they don't really have enough ammunition to make themselves cost-effective, typically. Sometimes you can make them work, but the Reaver's trying to get in here on the Goblin Archer line. The Squig Hopper's going to do a very nice rear charge here, and Tyrion, again, is still caught up in these Trolls, and there's big uns over here now as well. The Trolls, I think he's been able to maybe rout them off once or twice, but keeping that leadership there. The Fists of Gork on the Trolls as well, up to 62 attacks, 61 defense, so that they can actually make solid contact against Tyrion. I really like that use there. And the Chariot comes in, tries to get a hit on Wurzag, but this is a bit of a mistake. Wurzag, with his AP and charge and everything, can actually probably chase the Chariot down and recharge as well a little bit there. So, yeah, it's a bit risky, but the Chariot, at least for the time being, pushing through those archers there. Oh, here comes the magic missile. Makes really good contact there, does quite a bit of damage to that High Mage, and she's not doing too great on her leadership. With her going, that is going to lead to leadership issues in general for the High Elves. A very nice Sea Fang, though, just rips apart a whole bunch of those infantry. The Spider Riders are going to hold their leadership at least, and the Trolls will as well. I don't know, I would have to look back and see how many XP chevrons the Trolls had to begin with, but having the XP chevrons on the Trolls increasing their leadership is super, super helpful, and you can see they're just hanging around about 2 to 7 leadership, and that difference of a few chevrons is what is allowing them to stay in this fight. So just a tip as well, if you're bringing Trolls, it can be worthwhile to dump 1 or 2 chevrons into them just to, you know, as I like to say sometimes, Warhammer is very often a game of inches, and those small little differences can sometimes mean the difference, like in that situation. The Trolls finally routing here, but not after having gotten some really good damage done on Tyrion and kept him bogged in this whole time, kept Wurzag nice and safe. Looks like we're going to be going another Fist of Gork, probably on these big uns here, or actually on the Squig Hoppers, because they have armor piercing, up to 64 attack, and even though they're anti-infantry, you can see the damage on Tyrion. Man, they're just Squig Hoppers too. That's such a cheap cav unit to be damaging such an expensive lord. And that's the thing about goblins, is especially when they're buffed up, they will punch above their weight class. Despite the fact that their leadership is quite shaky, they're very prone to running away. Goblins, I mean, I guess their whole lore is that they're sneaky and vindictive and punch above their weight class, right? Speaking of punching, I guess, down in terms of weight class, these Black Orcs are slugging it out with the few Swordmasters that remain here. Swordmasters actually might do okay in this engagement. Obviously, their Martial Mastery is gone, which means only 36 melee defense versus 37 attack of the Black Orcs. They will be taking consistent hits, but oh, here comes the Troll Charge! Right in the rear of these Swordmasters, a beautiful cleanup. The Pig Lord himself comes in here. We got Vomit in the background. What a way to end. Beautiful replay. Huge thanks to Pharaoh for sending that one over. Always a pleasure, my friend. And yeah, and taking a look at the breakdown here, those Black Orcs absolutely just slugged it out in the front line, even without the support of OWar. Because Wurzag has the Bonewood Staff, you can sort of make up for not having it in a way, because you can keep those attack buffs rolling through the Bonewood staff the whole time, and as a result these guys were able to clean up some really nice kills. The trolls as well, all over the battlefield, getting good damage initially on the Swordmasters, pulling back, then getting Tyrion in this round and keeping him locked in place for quite a long time. Excellent use of trolls, probably one of the best uses of trolls I've seen in quite some time. I really like that. Spider Riders are great. They're just super cost effective. Love them as well. I like going for the cheaper missile line here. Personally, I'm a fan of Orc Airboys because of the extra AP, but there is certainly a school of thought that more volume of fire is better, and then that also allows you to allocate more points, for example, to your infantry line. But Squig Hoppers also ended up getting some really good engagements. This one in particular, 67 kills, 2 XP chevrons. Especially with that Fists of Gork against Tyrion, man. That was super legit. For Lupin's side, I think this High Elf build has some good ideas, but again, I think the Swordmasters are a little bit of a tough pick in this matchup because you're trying to fight fire with fire and just sort of, you're fighting the Greenskins at what they're best at, which is their infantry. You're going to run into problems. I think you're much better off to go with more of a mobile build with lots of cav and try and hit and run and wear the Greenskins down over time. Or you can obviously go with, like Alariel with healing monsters. The Greenskins have a hard time. I mean, they have some good monster killing tools, but especially if the monster has a lot of healing, then it can be problematic to deal with in a late game situation. So an interesting battle. And again, big thanks to Pharaoh for sending that one in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.